Chapter 6, Episode 5. Lotte's Misunderstanding and Obesity. Back to the Holy Land. Hey. I'm here to tell you it's sunny in your band. Yeah? Where? Ellen seemed to half understand Falma's confession, but he asked just in case. What do you mean, you can't? Lotte also asked innocently. I honestly don't understand the situation here. As a result of my guidance to the students, I was forbidden to enter the theater arena on campus by order of the president. Falma confessed with a fleeting smile. Oh, that's an interesting Dane. From now on, shopkeeper San, you can no longer teach divine arts. Roger said and blurted out. Celeste said, that's not funny, and took Roger to another room. When Tom returned from errands, he waved his hand and said, I'm going home today. A boy who can read the atmosphere. I told you not to do it. Falma-kun. Ellen's glasses always fall off. Although Falma's divine art practice, which he performed as an emergency stop for Ellen, was well received by the students, Bruno ordered him to the president's office and gave him the above-mentioned thing. Divine arts that greatly enhance the quality of an individual will cause great problems, and a sense of injustice will also arise between students who are not able to receive Falma's training. From now on, Falma's own god fighting will be a matter of course, and there will be no training for students. A promise was written to me that I would not be responsible for the divine art training in class. Not to mention the apology. But you didn't say anything about things outside of school. You are a person. You are a pinch-hitter teacher. When Ellen, who had fully recovered from her shoulder, said something. Mom. Lotte cried out in surprise when she saw the entrance to the pharmacy. Catherine Sorrell, Lotte's mother, was visiting the Beyond Pharmacy. Surprisingly, this was the first time Catherine visited a pharmacy. She seems to have walked from the mansion to the pharmacy. Miss Catherine, welcome. What do you want? Oh, Lotte Chan's mother, long time no see. Falma and Ellen also called out cheerfully. Ellen has long been a tutor in the De Medici's family, so she is familiar with Catherine. The part-time pharmacists greeted me. Good afternoon, young man. Good evening, pharmacy staff. What's the matter, mother? Have you come to visit the pharmacy? Lotte, please show Catherine to this door. Falma was considerate. Yes, I'll go around. Go, mother. When Lotte heard Falma's words, she rushed to Catherine and began to lead her into the pharmacy. Catherine looked confused but followed Lotte shyly. Falma-sama. Mother didn't come to visit the pharmacy, she came to buy medicine. After a while, Lotte came down the stairs with Catherine. Catherine seemed to find it difficult to say what she had to say in the crowded pharmacy. So Falma thought it might be a delicate matter, so he left Ellen to the second floor and went to the examination room on the second floor to listen. Lotte followed anxiously and slipped into the examination room. No one comes here. What kind of medicine are you looking for? Catherine lowered her head sheepishly as Falma urged her to speak. Mom, isn't there some kind of medicine that can make you lose your appetite? What are you going to use it for? Yes, lately I've become overweight and the clothes I've been given have become tighter, and I wonder if other people are laughing at me behind my back. Obese people are rare in this world. Obesity can be said to be a status symbol of wealth and gluttony for nobles. And as long as they can practice divine arts regarding obesity of nobles, they will not be criticized so much by their peers, and since they practice divine arts, they can exercise moderately. However, it seems that fat citizens are rare, and they seem to worry about looking lazy. Falma had the impression that Catherine was a servant who always worked hard and could do her work. Mom. I didn't know you were so worried. Lotte, who was listening to the story next to me, made a shocked expression. It's my fault. No, it's my fault for eating like a pig without discipline. Catherine was so embarrassed that she lowered her voice. I don't think you need to think about it that way. Falma seems to take Catherine too seriously, so he adds a word of encouragement. Is it possible to lose weight with little effort? Make an effort gradually, I guess. Don't thinking about it all of a sudden. Falma, who had never been obese since birth, including the previous Jakutani life, was quite thin. Or rather, the type who steadily lost weight when he relaxed. I could not take into account the narrow shoulders of being fat, but as she herself reported, Catherine was certainly fat. Last year it was slim, but in the last year or so it has grown noticeably larger. Unlike Lotte, who does odd jobs and has a lot of activity, Catherine is an older servant, so she does a lot of light work in the de Medici family villa. So they don't get enough exercise. After dinner, the sweets Charlotte took home were so delicious. I couldn't help but. Needless to say, the cause is obviously too much candy. It is said that Lotte bought it almost every day, so he ate a portion of it. Let's do a body mass index. Let's look at it and see if we need to lose weight. We need an objective assessment. Falma calculated Catherine's body mass index (BMI) and weight from her height and weight and asked Catherine herself to confirm. Catherine's BMI was 15 kilograms above her ideal weight. Lotte listened carefully to this as well. Catherine waited for the verdict. What do you think? Am I a pig? No, the pig is too self-deprecating. It's not seriously obese, but it's in the obese category. Let's lose weight. In Japan, the United States, and the WHO, there are different criteria for metabolic syndrome. Excuse me. Since there was no equipment to measure blood glucose levels, Falma diagnosed by eye examination, and although Catherine had accumulated visceral fat, all levels still appeared to be in the normal range. Bakken, what are you doing with your hands on your eyes? Catherine, who saw Falma's eye exam up close, regarded the gesture with a sense of wonder. Falma tried to touch Catherine's abdomen through her clothes, but the subcutaneous fat was thick. It doesn't seem to be the visceral fat type. I measured the waist circumference, but it does not exceed the standard waist circumference. It is not metabolic syndrome, but definitely obesity. How can I lose weight? Do you have any medications? Catherine, who came to the pharmacy, seems to have only medication. It seems that if you take medicine easily, you will lose weight quickly. Maybe I don't need to take medicine yet, but I don't think there is any appetite suppressant or fat absorber. Should I fast then? When the body goes into a starvation state due to fasting, muscle falls first, then fat, but it is hard to lose. In addition, the lack of bone-forming calcium causes the bones to disintegrate, which makes the bones fragile and prone to fractures. There are many other harmful effects of fasting, so we should restrict our diet and exercise mainly. Exercises that fit Catherine San. For example, a walk. A. Can you lose weight through exercise? The concept of losing weight through exercise without fasting is difficult for Catherine, she said. From Falma's point of view, it is natural, but since there is no one in this world who dares to lose weight, it seems unbelievable. However, walking and playing will interfere with the work at the villa, she said. For now, Mr. Catherine, take turns shopping with Mr. Charlotte. Oh, then it will come naturally. That's why you need comfortable feet. Falma urged her to have sneakers custom-made. I told him that the de Medici family had hired a specialized shoemaker, so I should order from that craftsman. Catherine went home with half expectation and half concern. Thank you very much, Falma-sama. It seems that I have done something bad to my mother. Lotte called out softly to Falma. I thought my mother would be pleased, so I told her that I had brought many unusual and sweet souvenirs. Lotte despaired and thought that he had pleased his parents, but he almost damaged their health. Maybe you also harassed the pharmacy staff and the people from the farm workshop. If you also bother Falma-sama, please tell me. Lotte's sharing felt somewhat burdensome, but Falma restrained himself and controlled himself. Moreover, his body shape remained remarkably unchanged. As long as you're in moderation, you'll be fine. Just like Lotte, be careful not to eat too many sweets. Even if you're as young as Lotte, if you eat too many sweets, you'll get it sick. Falma subtly rebuked Lotte. Yes, I'll give up snacks and go with Mama and take her for a walk sometimes. Lotte pulled herself together and answered cheerfully. After Catherine returned to the villa empty-handed, Lotte cleaned the examination room. A part-time cleaning job comes to the second floor of the pharmacy, but from the second floor Lotte is in charge of cleaning. Her cleaning skills were admirable. While humming a cheerful song, you skillfully make the floor shine. The scale is also thoroughly polished, so that no dirt and fine dust is not missed. Thinking about it, I feel like my skirt is a little tighter too. Lotte suddenly took off her shoes and stepped on the scale in the examination room. I haven't stepped on the scale lately. My mother was like that, but what about me? Suddenly, he seemed to be worried. Yeah. Using the method Falma had suggested, Lotte tried to calculate the physique index in the same way as Catherine. Kya. What's wrong, Lotte-chan? I heard a shout, so Ellen called from downstairs. Lotte dismissed it by saying it was nothing. That day, Lotte was obviously eating less than usual. Ellen's eyes widened in a strange way, as if a natural disaster had occurred. Lotte-chan, aren't you going to eat sweets after dinner? I'm eating less and less. Ellen asked anxiously. I don't feel like it today. Lotte mumbled in a low, somewhat awkward voice. I wonder if Lotte also answered Catherine-san. Falma had such an impression on Lotte, who answered shyly. Later, Catherine followed Falma's suggestion to restrict her diet and began shopping long distances on foot. As a result, Catherine's weight began to drop dramatically. Just a little effort will pay off. Catherine became more interested in dieting and increased her exercise load. But around this time Lotte also began to get up early and walk around the grounds of the villa. If it was still dark in the morning, she would sneak out, and when it was time to wake up, she would wake up in Falma's room as usual. Falma thought it was a good habit, but Lotte seemed to be lost in thought. Good morning, Lotte. It's a beautiful morning. One day, early in the morning, when Lotte was walking as usual in the garden of the de Medici's house, Falma suddenly came out from behind the bushes of the garden and called out to Lotte. Lotte, thinking that someone was calling out to him, jumped up and ran away about 50 meters. It is terribly cowardly. What are you doing? Lately, you've been walking early in the morning every day. Ah, Falma-sama. I thought my heart would stop. That's. I'm fat. I want to lose weight, so I go for a walk every day. Huh? Wait, Lotte isn't fat at all. Falma emphatically convinced Lotte, who seemed to be thinking about what a misunderstanding he was making. Falma's words did not reach Lotte, who had lost confidence in her weight and figure. It's okay, even if you don't mind. You don't have to diet because you have a decent physique and you're still growing up and things are different from adults. I'll put it away. But when I got on the scale, it turned out my weight was a big deal. I'm ashamed of being a piglet. Absolutely not. These scales aren't accurate, are they? But it's a pharmacy scale. It's very accurate. Lotte insists on the reliability of the data, saying that Tito is the most accurate. When Falma heard this, he tilted his head. Come to think of it, a while ago, after you cleaned the examination room, the scale was tilted horizontally, so I fixed it, he said. If that's the case, then it's not measuring properly. That day, when Falma set up the pharmacy's scale again and Lotte stood on it, Falma's prediction was correct. Lotte was relieved for the time being, but it seemed she would continue to try not to eat too many sweets. I'm going to stop eating that fruitcake today. She used to pick up every sweet thing she could find, but now she has learned to be patient. December 11:47 came. Falma received a summons to the palace, and Falma packed up for the long journey. The day of departure to the Holy Land arrived. Falma-sama, thank you for leaving. Please take care of yourself. Lotte is in tears. Somehow, based on Falma's recent tense appearance, he seemed to have guessed that the trip was not very optimistic. Lotte went no further. It's all right. His Majesty is here, and I'm just a servant. Really? You can believe it. It's a promise. Lotte held out her hand, so Falma held her hand tightly. The strength of this force conveyed Falma's feelings for Lotte. Apart from the Empress's bodyguards and a group of servants taking care of her personal belongings, several retainers of the de Medici's family accompanied Falma. They were thrilled to hear that they could go to the Holy Land. From the point of view of modern citizens of Earth, it would be equivalent to a trip to the Vatican. Falma, I am honored to be accompanied by His Majesty on an excursion. Please don't be rude in front of His Majesty. By the authentic scriptures and amulets of the Holy Land. Anyway, it's sad that we won't be able to see each other for a while. Beatrice, Paul and Blanche, who did not know the details of the situation, each delivered such a farewell message. Of course, I did not tell my family that there would be a serious meeting during my visit to the Holy Land. However, since I only told him that I would accompany him as the Empress's chief pharmacist, my family would react that way. Don't worry, I will definitely come back to this house. Besides, I didn't want to think that something happened and we would never see each other again. After telling Ellen and the pharmacy staff that he would be absent for about 2 weeks, Falma hurried to the palace where the Empress was worshipping with Solomon and Juliana at his side. The Empress is also preparing for the trip in civilian clothes. It is an elegant dress that still retains freedom of movement. Falma thinks a wide-brimmed hat is a modern design. I am Falma. I have arrived, Your Majesty. Thank you. We must come to an agreement with the Holy Land. Now is the right time. The alleged reason for the visit to the Holy Land is to pay a courtesy call to the High Priest, hold peaceful talks and visit the countries around the Holy Land in the milestone year of the 10th year of the Empress throne. Newspapers and the weekly Tito also reported extensively on the Empress's trips abroad. On the other hand, the main purpose of Falma's visit this time was to bring back the divine medicine staff and use it as a form of non-interference in Falma. I don't know what kind of hand Pius will use, and I am not familiar with the divine arts used by the priests. I cannot even use my power to silence him. At such times, the company of Solomon and Juliana is reassuring. Successive emperors visit the Holy Land at the time of their coronation, and the Empress says she met the High Priestess Pius during the coronation ceremony. It is said that the Empress did not have a particularly bad impression of the High Priestess who made her Empress. However, when he heard that the Holy Kingdom disturbed Falma, he could no longer remain silent. Moreover, the defected Juliana and Solomon will accompany him. Juliana was in danger of being taken back and Solomon was said to be missing in the first place, but both insisted that they would follow them no matter what. The Empress advised them to use a false name and disguise themselves, just in case. I threatened to tear down all the floors of the Great Temple, and I don't think the other side can do anything bad, but they certainly don't know what will happen. Clara, who has a traveling god as her patron deity, was officially ordered to accompany her. Clara also prepared for the journey. As she stands in front of the Empress, she is quite clear-headed. This is my first time traveling abroad. Clara, won't the evil prophecy change then? When the Empress asked, Clara dejectedly lowered her head and implicitly answered in the affirmative. According to Clara's precognitive ability, which has the attribute of the traveling goddess, she said that she could see a pinpoint bad omen for Falma visiting the Holy Land. None of them look like skeletons, do they? Falma warns before leaving. Clara says she has the ability to make dying people look like skeletons. Yes, we can all return alive. Falma was relieved, for the time being, at the preliminary guarantee that everyone would come back alive. I don't want to involve the people dealing with Falma in a life-and-death situation. Therefore, Falma gathered the entire tour group and gave a briefing to increase the likelihood of a safe return. Before we go, I want you to prepare something. It was Falma who held open the divine guidance of the chief warden. The veins that Falma opened without chance could not be closed by anyone, not even the priests. Even if a chant was sung in the Holy Land to block the veins, it would not matter if Falma opened the veins in advance. If you think this is a problem, you can return to your country and restore your lineage. It's just a temporary measure to prevent your lineage from being blocked in the Holy Land. After receiving the approval, Falma, in cooperation with Solomon and Juliana, opened the divine network of all the participants. Finally, when it was the Empress's turn, I inserted the Yakujan staff directly into the Empress's body and opened it without chanting. The Empress trembled and a mirage of divine power began to rise from her body. Oh! The bottom of the well of mythology was emptied. With these words the Empress expressed the great expansion of her divine veins. The Empress shoots a great flame into the sky. It was more powerful than the divine ability she had used before. Falma was amazed at the heat that seemed to cover the sky above the courtyard. How is it the winter sky has become warmer? As expected from your majesty, it is a great divine ability. Falma was stunned by the Empress's manliness and burst out laughing. While the Empress looked to the sky with satisfaction, rain began to fall as if to dampen her joy. Why, it's raining. With this amount of heat, it's natural for it to rain when an updraft is created. The fire god's crest engraved on the Empress' calf was more powerful and thicker as it pulsed. When measuring its divine power with a divine power meter, the amount increased by almost an order of magnitude. Juliana and others also saw a significant increase in divine power and were surprised by each of them. Clara did not change much even as her divine power increased, but for some reason she said she became even sleepier. Falma's belongings are a medical staff, a hidden ID card, a PC, a smartphone and more. I will return the medicine god staff after I do some work on it. Let me lead you to the Holy Land. A carriage with envoys from the Holy Kingdom came to pick up the Empresses. Falma and the others are traveling to the Holy Land for a meeting with the Emperor of the Sun Flube Empire and the High Priestess Pious.